You are drowning. You may not see the water, you may not feel the waves, but you are being pulled under by a relentless, invisible current. It is the current of a world that is screaming for your attention, 1,000 voices pulling you in 1,000 different directions. Your phone buzzes with notifications. Your inbox overflows with urgent demands. Your social media feeds present an endless, glittering parade of other people's lives. From the moment you wake to the moment you fall into an exhausted sleep, you are under siege. And the prize they are all fighting for is the single most valuable, most powerful, and most finite resource you will ever possess: your focus, your attention. This is the great, unspoken war of the 21st century, and 99% of people are losing it catastrophically, day after day. They live in a state of chronic distraction, their minds fractured into a dozen different pieces. They are busy but not productive. They are connected but not present. They consume vast amounts of information but gain little wisdom. They wonder why they feel so overwhelmed, so unfulfilled, so adrift, never realizing that they have surrendered the very rudder of their life. This audiobook is about taking back that rudder. It is about the one, single skill that, when mastered, will bring order to your chaos, power to your purpose, and mastery to every other area of your life. That one thing is the deliberate, conscious, and ruthless control of your own attention. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy. Where you place your energy is what you create in your life. Your life right now is the sum total of everything you have chosen to pay attention to. If you are not happy with your life, you must change what you are paying attention to. This is the master key. It is the meta skill that unlocks all other skills. You cannot build a business, master a craft, get in shape, or cultivate a deep relationship if your attention is constantly being hijacked. The ability to place your focus where you want it for as long as you want it is the superpower of the modern age. It is the definitive dividing line between the amateur and the professional, the dabbler and the master, the 99% and the 1%. This is not about time management. This is about attention management. We will give you the tools, the mindset, and the system to transform your fractured focus into a laser beam of intention. You will learn to architect an environment that serves your goals, not the goals of tech companies. You will learn to train your mind like a muscle, building its capacity for deep, unbroken concentration. You will learn to become the master of your own mind, not a slave to its every whim and distraction. This is your path to becoming unstoppable. This is how you reclaim your power and begin to consciously create the life you were meant to live. The principles in this audiobook are the foundation for a life of focus and mastery. To ensure you stay on this path and continue to receive the hard-hitting truths you need to win, subscribe to this channel right now. Don't be part of the 99% who let their attention be stolen. Be the 1% who seizes control and directs their own destiny. Subscribe now and let's begin the work. And if you find value by the end of this video, please leave a meaningful comment to keep motivating us to make content like this. Chapter 1: The Most Valuable Currency. Before we can begin the training, you must first understand the stakes. You must grasp on a fundamental level the immense and irreplaceable value of the one thing we are here to master. That one thing is your attention. I want you to stop thinking of your attention as some vague, abstract concept. From this moment forward, I want you to think of your attention as your most valuable currency. It is more valuable than your money. It is more valuable than your time. Why? Because you can always make more money. You can never, ever make more attention. You are born with a finite amount of it for each day. Every moment, you are spending it on something. And like any currency, how you choose to invest it will determine the entire trajectory of your life. The 99% of people are financially bankrupt when it comes to their attention. They give it away for free, carelessly, to the lowest bidder. They wake up and immediately spend their most precious morning attention on the trivialities of a social media feed. They allow a notification, a meaningless digital buzz, to purchase a huge chunk of their focus for pennies. They squander their creative energy reacting to the demands of others in their inbox. They are walking through life with a hole in their pocket, their most valuable currency draining away, and they don't even realize it. They are attention bankrupt, and their lives reflect it. Shallow work, distracted relationships, a constant feeling of being busy but never accomplishing anything of significance. The winner, the 1%, treats their attention like a master investor treats their capital. They are ruthless, strategic, and disciplined in how they allocate it. They understand that every single thing they pay attention to is an investment, and they are only interested in investments that yield a high return. Reading a book that expands their skills is a high-return investment. Engaging in a deep, focused conversation with a loved one is a high-return investment. Spending 90 minutes of unbroken concentration on their most important project is a high-return investment. Mindlessly scrolling through a feed of curated outrage and envy is a catastrophic, negative return investment. It doesn't just cost you the attention you spend. It leaves you in an attentional deficit, your mind more agitated, anxious, and fractured than before. The winner understands this, and they guard the gates of their mind with a ferocity that the average person would find extreme. They understand that what you pay attention to grows. If you constantly pay attention to negativity, fear, and drama, you are watering the weeds in the garden of your mind. Your life will become a reflection of that negativity. If you consistently pay attention to opportunity, to learning, to solutions, and to your own goals, you are watering the flowers. Your life will blossom accordingly. You are the gardener. Your attention is the water. The choice of what to water is yours and yours alone. This is not a metaphor. It is a neurological reality. The things you repeatedly focus on literally shape the physical structure of your brain. Through a process called neuroplasticity, the neural pathways associated with your objects of focus become stronger, faster, and more automatic. If you consistently focus on distraction, you are building a distraction brain. You are literally training yourself to be unfocused. If you consistently practice focusing on a single task, you are building a focused brain. You are physically wiring yourself for deep work and concentration. Your daily attentional habits are either building a brain that serves you or a brain that sabotages you. There is no neutral ground. Your life, your career, your relationships, your very sense of self, they are all downstream from the quality of your attention. The quality of your work is determined by the quality of the attention you bring to it. The quality of your relationships is determined by the quality of the attention you give to the other person. The quality of your experiences is determined by the quality of the attention you pay to the present moment. Attention is the raw material of a well-lived life. It is the currency with which you purchase your reality. And right now, there are entire industries with billion-dollar budgets and armies of PhDs whose sole purpose is to mine this currency from you, to steal it, and to sell it to the highest bidder. We will discuss this enemy in the next chapter. But for now, the first step is to internalize this truth. Your attention is your most precious, non-renewable resource. It is the lifeblood of your potential. You must stop treating it like an infinite commodity and start treating it like the sacred currency it is. Before you give your attention to anything, a person, a task, an app on your phone, you must begin to ask a new question. Is this a worthy investment? Is this thing deserving of a piece of my life? Because that's what you're spending. Not just your focus. You are spending the moments of your one and only life. Start acting like it. Become a ruthless, conscious investor of your attention. This is the first and most critical step to mastering your life. Chapter 2. The War for Your Mind. You are at war. Whether you know it or not, from the moment you wake up, you are on a battlefield. It is a silent war, fought with invisible weapons, but it is a war nonetheless. The territory being fought over is your mind. The prize is your attention. And you are not fighting against a disorganized militia. You are fighting against the most sophisticated, well-funded, and psychologically astute armies in the history of the world. I am talking about the architects of the modern attention economy. The social media companies, the news organizations, the streaming services, the app developers. You must understand that these are not neutral platforms. They are not simply tools waiting to be used. They are precision-engineered environments designed with one primary objective: to capture and hold as much of your attention as possible for as long as possible, so that they can sell that attention to advertisers. You are not the customer. You are the product. Your attention is the commodity being bought and sold. To achieve their objective, these companies have weaponized behavioral psychology. They have hired neuroscientists and data scientists to exploit the weaknesses and reward pathways of the human brain. The 99% of people are walking onto this battlefield completely unarmed and unaware. They think they are just checking their feed or watching a quick video. They have no idea that they are willingly plugging their brain into a machine that is designed to addict them. Let's look at the weapons being used against you. The first is intermittent variable rewards. This is the slot machine effect. When you pull down to refresh your social media feed, you don't know what you're going to get. It might be something boring, or it might be a juicy piece of gossip, a like on your photo, or an interesting video. This unpredictability is what makes it so addictive. The anticipation of a potential reward releases a flood of dopamine in your brain, the motivation molecule. It's the same chemical process that drives a gambling addiction. You are pulling a digital slot machine lever every time you refresh, and your brain becomes hooked on the possibility of a jackpot. The second weapon is the fear of missing out, or FOMO. The platforms are designed to create a sense of social urgency. The endless scroll, the stories that disappear after 24 hours, the constant stream of updates, they all create a low-grade anxiety that if you disconnect, you will be left out of the loop. You will miss something important. This is a carefully manufactured illusion. 99.9% of the information on these platforms is trivial and will be forgotten in an hour. But the fear is a powerful hook that keeps you coming back, checking, scrolling, ensuring you don't miss the next fleeting piece of digital confetti. The third weapon is social validation. Humans are deeply wired to seek the approval of the tribe. Likes, shares, comments, these are not just metrics. They are digital pellets of social approval. Each time you receive one, you get a small dopamine hit. Your brain learns that posting content and then constantly checking for the response is a reliable way to get this chemical reward. You become a rat in a cage, pressing a lever for a pellet of validation, your sense of self-worth becoming entangled with the fickle and meaningless feedback of strangers online. The fourth weapon is the algorithm itself. The algorithms that power these platforms are not designed to show you what is true or what is important. They are designed to show you what will keep you engaged. They track every click, every pause, every share you make, building a complex psychological profile of you. They learn your triggers, your insecurities, your outrage points, and they feed you a personalized diet of content that is perfectly tailored to keep your eyes glued to the screen. They will feed you outrage because outrage is highly engaging. They will feed you controversy because controversy keeps you commenting. They are creating a personalized reality tunnel for you that is optimized not for your well-being, but for your sustained attention. The 99% are helpless against this onslaught. They blame themselves. They think, "I just have no willpower." They don't realize that their willpower is a single soldier fighting against a technologically supercharged army. Willpower alone cannot win this war. You cannot win by trying harder. You must win by being smarter. You must become a strategist. Your first strategic move is to recognize the enemy. You must stop seeing your phone and your apps as benign toys. You must see them for what they are, powerful tools that can be used for you or against you. You must develop a healthy sense of suspicion and a conscious awareness of the game that is being played. The second move is to disarm the enemy. This means systematically going through your devices and turning off the weapons. Turn off every single notification. Every buzz, every banner, every red dot is a tiny soldier from the enemy army, sent to pull you out of your life and back into their platform. You must eliminate them. Curate your feeds ruthlessly. Unfollow any account that consistently makes you feel angry, envious, or anxious. You are the commander of your own mind. You get to decide what information is allowed to enter it. The third move is to create your own fortifications. This means building an environment, as we will discuss in more detail later, that makes it difficult for the enemy to reach you. It means scheduling specific, limited times for engaging with these platforms, rather than letting them bleed into every spare moment of your day. It means having no-phone zones in your home, like the dinner table or the bedroom. You are building a fortress of focus, and you are deciding when to lower the drawbridge. This is not about becoming a Luddite and throwing away your technology. It is about moving from being a passive consumer to a conscious user. It is about recognizing that you are in a war for the control of your own mind, and it is a war you cannot afford to lose. The stakes are everything: your productivity, your peace of mind, your relationships, your ability to create a life of meaning. The 99% will continue to be casualties of this war, their attention harvested and sold, their potential draining away with every mindless scroll. You will not. You are now aware of the battlefield. You are aware of the enemy's tactics. It is time to arm yourself and fight back. Chapter 3: The Myth of Multitasking. Now that you understand the value of your attention and the forces that are actively trying to steal it, we must address a pervasive and destructive myth that has taken root in our culture of productivity. It is a myth that the 99% have bought into completely, a lie that they wear as a badge of honor. That myth is multitasking, the ability to juggle multiple tasks at once, to answer an email while on a phone call while half listening to a presentation, is seen as a sign of efficiency and skill. In reality, it is the exact opposite. Multitasking is a lie. It is a recipe for mediocrity. It is the art of messing up several things at once. The human brain, despite its incredible power, cannot consciously focus on two high-level tasks at the same time. It is a biological impossibility. What you are actually doing when you think you are multitasking is something called task switching or context switching. Your brain is not doing two things at once. It is rapidly switching its focus back and forth between the tasks. And this switching comes at a tremendous cost. Every time you switch from one task to another, there is a cognitive cost. It's like a mental gear-shifting tax. It takes time and energy for your brain to disengage from the first task, load the context of the second task, and then get up to speed. Studies have shown that even a brief interruption, like a quick glance at an email notification, can be enough to completely derail your concentration, and it can take up to 20-25 minutes to regain the same level of deep focus you had before the interruption. The 99% live their entire day in this state of continuous task switching. They sit down to work on a report. A few minutes in, they get an email notification. They switch to their inbox. They answer the email. While in their inbox, they see another email that reminds them of a different task. They switch to that. Then their phone buzzes. They switch to check the message. They spend their entire day in a flurry of activity, shifting from one shallow task to another. At the end of the day, they feel exhausted, but when they look back, they realize they have made very little meaningful progress on their most important work. They were busy, but not productive. Their work is riddled with errors, their thinking is shallow, and they have never once entered the state of deep concentration required for breakthrough insights. The winner, the master of attention, understands this, and they reject the myth of multitasking completely. They embrace the opposite principle, monotasking or single tasking. They understand that the only way to produce work of the highest quality in the shortest amount of time is to dedicate their full, undivided attention to a single task for a sustained period. They know that focus is a multiplier of effort. An hour of focused, single-tasking work is more productive than 3 hours of distracted, multitasking work. It is not about working harder. It is about working deeper. Let's consider the difference in quality. Imagine a craftsman building a fine piece of wooden furniture. They are completely absorbed in their work, their attention focused on the single point where their chisel meets the wood. The result is a masterpiece of precision and beauty. Now imagine that same craftsman trying to work while also answering text messages, watching TV, and talking on the phone. The result would be a shoddy, dangerous, and ugly piece of work. The same is true for knowledge work. Writing a brilliant legal argument, creating an elegant piece of code, or developing a game-changing marketing strategy requires the same level of deep, uninterrupted focus. You cannot achieve excellence while your attention is fractured. The myth of multitasking is not just killing your productivity, it is also increasing your stress levels. Constantly switching contexts keeps your brain in a state of high alert. It elevates your cortisol levels, the stress hormone. That feeling of being frazzled, overwhelmed, and constantly behind is a direct result of a brain that is being forced to shift gears hundreds of times a day. Single tasking, on the other hand, is a calming and deeply satisfying way to work. When you allow your brain to fully immerse itself in a single challenge, you can enter a state of flow. Flow is that magical state where you are so absorbed in an activity that time seems to melt away. You are performing at your absolute peak and it feels effortless. This state is not only highly productive, it is one of the most pleasurable and fulfilling experiences a human being can have, and it is completely inaccessible to the multitasker. You must make a conscious decision to abandon the cult of multitasking. It is a false idol that has led you astray. You must have the courage to do one thing at a time, and to do it with your full and complete attention. This will feel strange at first. Your brain, conditioned for constant stimulation, will rebel. You will feel the phantom itch to check your email, to open a new tab, to do something, anything, other than the single task in front of you. You must treat this as a form of withdrawal. You are breaking an addiction. The path to mastery is a path of single-minded focus. You must be willing to close the door on the 1,000 trivialities that are screaming for your attention, so that you can give your full self to the one thing that truly matters in this moment. In the chapters to come, we will discuss the practical systems for creating an environment and a schedule that makes single tasking your default mode. But for now, The first step is to destroy the myth in your own mind. Repeat this until it becomes your creed. Multitasking is a lie. True professionals do one thing at a time. My focus is a laser beam, not a sprinkler. Make this your new philosophy, and you will have taken a giant leap towards mastering your life. Chapter 4: The Architect of Your Environment. You cannot win the war for your mind by relying on willpower alone. Willpower is a fickle and finite resource. It's like a muscle that gets fatigued with use. If you spend your entire day using your willpower to resist the temptations of a distracting environment, you will have no energy left for the deep, focused work that actually matters. The 99% are engaged in a constant, losing battle of willpower. They sit down to work in an environment that is perfectly designed for distraction, and then they get frustrated with themselves when they inevitably get distracted. They are trying to be a disciplined person in an undisciplined environment. It is a recipe for failure. The winner, the master of attention, takes a different approach. They do not rely on willpower. They rely on architecture. They understand that the most effective way to change their behavior is to change their environment. They become a conscious, deliberate architect of their physical and digital worlds, designing a space that makes focus the path of least resistance and distraction a difficult choice. They don't fight temptation, they eliminate it at the source. This is one of the most practical and high-leverage things you can do to reclaim your focus, and you can start today. Your first task is to become the architect of your physical environment. Look at your primary workspace right now. Is it a sanctuary of focus, or is it a landscape of distraction? Every object in your field of vision is a potential hook for your attention. The pile of unopened mail, the stack of unrelated books, the sticky notes from last week's projects, each one is a tiny leak in the bucket of your focus. You must be ruthless. Your workspace should contain only the essential tools required for the single task you are working on. Everything else must be out of sight. A clear space is a clear mind. If your desk is a cluttered mess, your mind will be a cluttered mess. If your desk is clear and organized, your mind will be primed for clarity and order. The single most important element of your physical environment to control is your smartphone. We have already discussed that it is a weapon of mass distraction. Therefore, when it is time for deep work, the phone cannot be a part of your environment. Do not put it on silent. Do not turn it face down on your desk. The mere visual presence of your phone is enough to reduce your cognitive capacity, as a part of your brain remains on high alert, actively resisting the urge to pick it up. Your phone must be in another room. Lock it in a drawer. Put it in your car. The act of creating physical separation is the single most powerful habit you can build to improve your focus. Make it inconvenient to be distracted. By the time you get up, walk to the other room and get your phone, the initial impulsive urge will likely have passed, and you can consciously ask yourself, is this really what I want to be doing right now? Next, you must become the architect of your digital environment. Your computer can be the most powerful tool for creation on the planet, or it can be the most powerful engine for distraction. You must tame it. Start with your desktop. It should be clean and clear, not a chaotic junkyard of random files and shortcuts. Close every single tab in your browser that is not directly related to the task at hand. Each open tab is a tiny, nagging voice calling for your attention, a cognitive open loop that drains your mental energy. Use browser extensions that block distracting websites during your work blocks. Close your email client. You cannot do deep, creative work while your inbox is open, a constant source of other people's priorities and demands. But the most important act of digital architecture is the elimination of notifications. Notifications are the lifeblood of the attention economy. They are the enemy's primary weapon for hijacking your focus. You must go through every single application on your phone and your computer and turn off all non-essential notifications. The banners, the sounds, the red badge icons, disable them all. This is not a suggestion, it is a command. You must move from a push system where technology is constantly pushing information at you on its own schedule to a pull-in system where you choose to pull in information on your schedule. You decide when it's time to check email. You decide when it's time to look at messages. You are the one in control, not the algorithm. This act of designing your environment is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. Before you begin a session of deep work, you must perform your shutdown ritual. This is a 2-3 minute process where you consciously architect your space for focus. You clear your desk. You close your tabs. You put your phone in the other room. You are deliberately setting the stage for victory. You are telling your brain, this is a place of focus. This is a time for deep work. The 99% are victims of their environment. They work in whatever space they happen to be in, and they wonder why they can't focus. The winner understands that their environment is not passive. It is an active participant in their success or failure. They take radical responsibility for designing a world that supports their highest ambitions. Stop trying to be a disciplined person. Start building a disciplined environment. Make focus the easy choice and distraction the difficult one. When your environment is aligned with your intentions, your willpower becomes irrelevant. Your success becomes a matter of design, not of struggle. Be the architect. Build your fortress of focus. Chapter 5. The Power of a Single Task. You have declared war on distraction. You have begun to architect an environment that shields you from the enemy. Now, it is time to go on the offensive. It is time to learn how to wield your newly protected attention like a finely honed weapon. The ultimate expression of a controlled mind is the ability to engage in monotasking, or deep work. This is the practice of directing your full, undivided cognitive resources to a single, high-value task for an extended period of time. This is the polar opposite of the shallow, fractured work of the multitasker. This is the work that produces masterpieces. It is the work that solves complex problems. It is the work that creates undeniable value in the world. And it is a skill that is becoming increasingly rare, and therefore increasingly valuable. The 99% are losing the ability to do deep work. Their brains, rewired by years of constant digital stimulation, are no longer capable of sustained concentration. They can't tolerate the boredom of focusing on one thing for more than a few minutes. They crave the next hit of novel information, the next dopamine rush from a new notification. As a result, the work they produce is shallow. It is a mile wide and an inch deep. They can answer emails, attend meetings, and shuffle papers, but they cannot create anything of true, lasting significance. They are becoming the cognitive equivalent of assembly line workers, capable only of performing simple, repetitive, and easily replaceable tasks. The winner, the master of attention, chooses a different path. They choose to cultivate the skill of deep work as if their life depends on it, because in the new economy, it does. They understand that the ability to go deep, to focus intensely on a single, cognitively demanding task, is what separates the expert from the amateur, the creator from the consumer, the leader from the follower. To harness the power of a single task, you must build a system around it. The most effective system is known as time blocking. The 99% approach their day with a vague to-do list. They drift from one task to another based on what feels urgent or easy in the moment. The winner architects their day with the precision of a master planner. They don't just list what they have to do, they schedule when they are going to do it. They look at their most important tasks, the ones that require real brain power, and they schedule specific, protected blocks of time in their calendar to work on them. A deep work block might be a 90-minute slot from 9:00 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. This is not a suggestion. It is a sacred appointment with your most important work. You treat it with the same respect you would a meeting with the CEO of your company. During this block, you do one thing and one thing only. You work on your designated single task. Your phone is in another room. Your email is closed. Your door is shut. You have created a fortress of focus, and for these 90 minutes, you are completely immersed in the challenge before you. This structure is not a prison. It is the framework for your freedom and productivity. It ensures that your most important work gets your best energy, rather than the leftover scraps of your attention at the end of a long, distracting day. Within these deep work blocks, you will discover the state of flow. Flow is the holy grail of productivity and fulfillment. It is a state of complete absorption in an activity, where your sense of self seems to disappear, time distorts, and your skills are perfectly matched to the challenge at hand. It is in this state that you will produce your absolute best work, and you will do it effortlessly. Flow is the neurological reward for single-minded concentration. It is a gift that is only given to those who are willing to pay the price of admission, and that price is a commitment to monotasking. Getting started with this practice can be challenging. Your attention muscle is likely weak from years of neglect. You must train it gradually. Start with a shorter deep work block, perhaps just 25 minutes. This is known as the Pomodoro technique. You set a timer for 25 minutes and you commit to working on a single task without any interruptions for that entire period. When the timer goes off, you take a 5-minute break. After 4 of these cycles, you take a longer break. This technique is a fantastic on-ramp to deep work. It breaks the intimidating mountain of a large project into small, manageable, 25-minute sprints. It trains your brain to focus for short, intense bursts, and it gradually builds your capacity for sustained concentration. As you practice, you will notice your ability to focus growing stronger. The urge to switch tasks will diminish. The discomfort of boredom will be replaced by the deep satisfaction of immersion. You are literally rewiring your brain for focus. You are building the neural architecture of a master. The world will not give you the time for deep work. You must claim it. You must protect it. You must be willing to be seen as unresponsive for periods of your day. You must be willing to say no to the endless stream of shallow demands so that you can say yes to the deep work that truly matters. While the rest of the world is drowning in the shallows, you will be exploring the depths. You will be creating, solving, and achieving at a level that they can only dream of. That is the power of a single task. Chapter 6: The Daily Reset, Mastering the Morning. How you begin your day is a powerful predictor of how you will live your day. The first 60 minutes after you wake up are a sacred and critical window of opportunity. In this period, your brain is transitioning from a sleep state to a waking state. It is highly impressionable. The tone you set during this time will ripple throughout the next 12 to 16 hours. You have a choice. You can either seize control of your attention in this golden hour, or you can surrender it to the chaos of the world. The 99% surrender. The very first thing they do, often before their feet even hit the floor, is reach for their phone. They immediately plunge their vulnerable, waking mind into a fire hose of external stimuli. They are hit with work emails that trigger anxiety, news headlines that trigger fear, and social media feeds that trigger comparison and envy. They begin their day in a state of reactivity. They are immediately on the defensive, their attention fractured and their emotional state hijacked by the agendas of others. They have lost the battle for their day before it has even properly begun. The winner, the master of attention, understands that the morning is not for consumption. It is for calibration. It is their time to consciously and deliberately prime their brain for a day of focus, intention, and victory. They protect their first hour with a ruthless ferocity. This is achieved through a non-negotiable morning routine, a daily reset designed to seize control of their attention before the world has a chance to steal it. The first and most important rule of this routine is a strict, no phone for the first hour policy. This is the cornerstone of a masterful morning. Your phone is a portal to a world of infinite distraction and other people's priorities. You cannot allow it to be the first voice you listen to in the morning. This single discipline will feel uncomfortable at first. You will feel the addict's pull, the itch of FOMO. This is a sign of how deeply the technology has its hooks in you. You must break this cycle. You must prove to yourself that you are the master, not the device. Once you've eliminated the primary source of distraction, you must fill that space with intentional practices that cultivate focus. Your morning routine doesn't need to be long or complex. A simple, consistent 20-30-minute protocol is infinitely more powerful than an elaborate one you only do sporadically. The first element is to hydrate your body and mind. After 7-8 hours of sleep, you are dehydrated. A large glass of water is the first thing your brain needs to begin functioning optimally. It is a simple act that signals a fresh start. The second element is to move your body. This doesn't need to be an intense workout. It can be 5 minutes of stretching, a short walk outside, or a set of push-ups and squats. The goal is to change your physiology. Movement increases blood flow to the brain, releases endorphins, and creates a state of alertness and energy. While the 99% are groggily scrolling, you are actively creating a peak physical state to support your mental performance. The third element is to center your attention. This is where you actively train your focus muscle. Spend 5 to 10 minutes in silence. This could be a formal meditation practice, where you focus on your breath and gently bring your attention back every time it wanders. Or it could simply be sitting quietly with a cup of tea, deliberately not thinking about the day's to-do list, but just being present. This practice is the mental equivalent of lifting weights for your attention. You are strengthening your ability to be the calm, conscious commander of your mind, rather than a victim of its chaotic chatter. The fourth and final element is to set your intention. This is where you direct your newly centered attention towards your goals for the day. Take out a journal and write down the 1 to 3 most important things you want to accomplish. These are your wins for the day. This is not a laundry list of every task you have to do. This is a short, prioritized list of the high-value activities that will truly move the needle. By defining your priorities up front, in the quiet of the morning, you create a powerful filter for the rest of the day. You have a clear mission. When inevitable distractions and new requests come your way, you can measure them against your mission and confidently say no to the things that don't matter. This simple 4-part protocol, hydrate, move, center, intend, is your daily reset. It is your declaration of sovereignty over your own mind. It is you planting your flag in the ground of the new day and claiming it as your own before the invading armies of distraction even have a chance to mobilize. It transforms you from a reactive victim into a proactive architect. It ensures that you start your day from a position of power, clarity, and control. This is not a luxury. In the modern world, this is a necessity. It is the daily practice that underpins a life of mastery. Seize your morning and you will seize your life. Chapter 7: Training the Muscle, the Practice of Mindfulness. We have talked at length about creating an external environment that protects your focus. We have discussed systems and routines that support single-minded work. But now, we must turn our attention inward. We must address the source code. For even in the most perfectly designed fortress of focus, there is still one source of distraction that can sabotage your efforts: your own mind. The untrained mind is a restless, wandering beast. It jumps from the past to the future, from worries to daydreams, from one random thought to the next. It is a constant stream of internal noise. If you cannot learn to tame this internal chaos, you will never achieve true mastery over your attention. The 99% are completely at the mercy of this internal chatter. They believe they are their thoughts. They are fused with the voice in their head, and they follow it wherever it leads them. This is why, even without a smartphone in sight, they find it impossible to concentrate on a single task. Their own mind is the biggest distraction of all. The winner understands that they are not their thoughts. They are the observer of their thoughts. They know that the mind can be trained, just like any other muscle in the body. The single most effective workout for the attention muscle is the practice of mindfulness, often in the form of meditation. Now I want you to strip away any preconceived notions you have about meditation. This is not about religion. It is not about spirituality. It is not about emptying your mind or achieving some mystical state. For our purposes, mindfulness is a simple, secular, and scientifically backed brain training exercise. It is a mental workout with one specific goal: to improve your ability to consciously control and direct your attention. The exercise is incredibly simple. You sit in a quiet place for a few minutes, you close your eyes, and you decide to place the spotlight of your attention on a single, neutral object. The most common choice is the physical sensation of your own breath, the feeling of the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and then leaving your body. Your only job for the duration of the exercise is to keep your attention on your breath. And here is the crucial part. You will fail at this repeatedly. Within seconds, your mind will wander. You will start thinking about your to-do list, a conversation you had yesterday, what you're going to have for lunch. This is not a sign that you are bad at meditation. This is the entire point of the exercise. The moment you notice that your mind has wandered, that is the moment of victory. That is the magic rep. In that moment of noticing, you have just flexed the muscle of your awareness. And then, your next job is to gently, without judgment, escort your attention back to your breath. And you repeat this process over and over again. Your mind wanders. You notice. You return. This is the dumbbell curl for your prefrontal cortex. Each time you notice your mind has been hijacked by a thought and you consciously bring it back to your intended point of focus, you are strengthening the neural pathways responsible for attentional control. You are literally building a more focused brain. The 99% try meditation once or twice, get frustrated that their mind is so busy, and quit, thinking they can't do it. They don't understand that the busyness of their mind is the very reason the training is necessary. You wouldn't go to the gym once, fail to lift the heaviest weight, and conclude that exercise doesn't work. It is the process of struggling against the resistance that creates the strength. The benefits of a consistent mindfulness practice extend far beyond your deep work sessions. This training bleeds into every area of your life. You will start to notice, in real time, when your mind is getting distracted in a meeting. You will catch yourself ruminating on a negative thought and have the power to consciously shift your focus. You will be in a conversation with someone, and you will notice your mind drifting, and you will be able to bring your attention back and be fully present with them. This is the skill of metacognition, of thinking about your thinking. It is the master skill that allows you to move from being a passenger in your own mind to being the driver. So how do you start? You start small, incredibly small. Do not try to meditate for 30 minutes. You will fail and get discouraged. Start with 3 minutes. Use a timer. The goal is not a long duration. The goal is daily consistency. 3 minutes of focused attention training every single day is infinitely more powerful than 30 minutes once a week. You are building a habit. You are casting a daily vote for your identity as a person with a trained, focused mind. This is the inner game. This is the work that no one else sees, but it is the work that makes all the other work possible. While the rest of the world is allowing their minds to grow weaker, flabbier, and more distracted every day, you will be in your own private mental gymnasium, building a mind that is strong, agile, and capable of a level of focus that is nothing short of a superpower. Train your attention muscle. The strength you build here will be the foundation of the mastery you seek in every other part of your life. Chapter 8: Intentional Consumption versus Mindless Scrolling. In our modern world, we have access to more information than any other generation in human history. The entire repository of human knowledge is available at our fingertips. This should, in theory, make us the wisest, most intelligent, and most capable humans who have ever lived. But for most people, the opposite is happening. They are drowning in information, but they are starved of wisdom. Why? Because they have become mindless consumers. Their relationship with information is not one of intention and purpose. It is one of passive, reactive, and addictive scrolling. The 99% are information hoarders. They consume endlessly. They scroll through social media feeds, click on sensationalist news headlines, and fall down rabbit holes of random YouTube videos. They are constantly taking in new data, but very little of it is relevant, useful, or aligned with their goals. This constant stream of low-quality information has a devastating effect on their attention. It trains their brain to crave novelty and to have a low tolerance for any single piece of information that requires more than a few seconds of focus. It creates a state of info-anxiety, a feeling of being constantly overwhelmed, yet perpetually feeling like you are missing out. This is not learning. This is mental pollution. The winner, the master of attention, approaches information not as a consumer, but as a creator, a craftsman. They do not engage in mindless scrolling. They practice intentional consumption. They understand that the information they consume is the food for their mind. And just as you wouldn't build a strong, healthy body by eating a constant diet of junk food, you cannot build a sharp, focused, and intelligent mind by consuming a constant diet of digital junk. Intentional consumption is a system for engaging with information that is purposeful, strategic, and designed to serve your specific goals. It is built on a simple principle. You must know your why before you engage. Before you pick up a book, before you listen to a podcast, before you watch a video, you must ask yourself, what am I trying to get out of this? What specific problem am I trying to solve, or what specific skill am I trying to build? The 99% consume based on what the algorithm feeds them. The winner consumes based on a question they are trying to answer. This simple act of defining your purpose transforms you from a passive recipient into an active hunter. You are no longer aimlessly wandering through the digital forest. You are on a mission to find a specific target. This makes your consumption incredibly efficient. You learn to skim, to identify the valuable information quickly, and to discard the irrelevant noise. Another key principle of intentional consumption is to have a just-in-time learning philosophy, rather than a just-in-case hoarding mentality. The 99% hoard information just in case they might need it someday. They have hundreds of bookmarked articles they will never read and dozens of online courses they will never finish. This creates digital clutter and a sense of overwhelm. The winner focuses on learning what they need just in time to apply it. If they need to learn how to run better ads for their business, they will find the best resource on that specific topic, learn what they need, and immediately apply it. This creates a tight feedback loop between learning and doing, which is the fastest way to build real, practical skills. Knowledge that is not applied is quickly forgotten. To become an intentional consumer, you must also create systems for capture and creation. When you find a valuable piece of information that aligns with your goals, you must not just consume it, you must capture it. This means taking notes, highlighting passages, and, most importantly, summarizing the key idea in your own words. This act of processing and recording information is what transfers it from short-term memory to long-term knowledge. But the ultimate act of an intentional consumer is to become a creator. The best way to truly learn something is to teach it, to write about it, or to build something with it. When you are forced to explain a concept to someone else, you are forced to clarify your own understanding on a much deeper level. Start a blog, create a presentation, or simply explain what you've learned to a friend or colleague. You must shift your ratio of consumption to creation. The 99% consume 99% of the time and create 1% of the time. You must flip this. Your default mode should be creation, and your consumption should be the strategic fuel for that creation. So, conduct an audit of your information diet. Where are you spending your attentional currency? Is it on high-quality, nutrient-dense information that aligns with your goals? Or is it on the empty calories of digital junk food? Be ruthless. Unsubscribe, unfollow, and delete anything that does not serve your highest purpose. Replace mindless scrolling with a conscious, intentional system for learning and growth. Stop being a passive receptacle for the world's noise. Become a purposeful architect of your own wisdom. This is how you transform the infinite sea of information from a threat that will drown you into a resource that will carry you to your destination. Chapter 9: Attention in Action, the Art of Presence. Thus far, our focus has been primarily on controlling your attention in the context of your work, your learning, and your productivity. This is the foundation of professional mastery. But if you only learn to focus on your computer screen, you will have won a battle but lost the war for a well-lived life. The ultimate expression of a masterful mind is the ability to deploy your attention not just on your tasks, but on your life itself. It is the art of presence. Presence is the practice of bringing your full, undivided attention to the present moment, to the conversation you are in, to the meal you are eating, to the walk you are taking. It is the ability to be fully where you are, with your mind not lost in the past or anxious about the future. The 99% have lost this ability. They are physically present, but mentally absent. They are at the dinner table with their family, but their mind is on an email from their boss. They are in a conversation with a friend, but they are covertly checking their phone under the table. They are playing with their children, but they are thinking about their to-do list. They are ghosts in their own lives, haunting the present moment without ever truly inhabiting it. They are sacrificing the richness of their actual, lived experience for the shallow, digital abstraction of it. And they are left with a profound sense of disconnection, wondering why their relationships feel shallow and their lives feel like a blur. The winner understands that the quality of their life is nothing more than the quality of the moments they are present for. They know that the past is a memory and the future is a fantasy. The only place where life actually happens is right here, right now. And so, they train their attention not just for productivity, but for presence. They see every interaction, every moment, as an opportunity to practice. The most important place to practice the art of presence is in your relationships. When you are with another person, the greatest gift you can give them is the gift of your full, undivided attention. It is more valuable than any material object. When you are truly listening to someone, not just waiting for your turn to talk, but listening with the intent to understand, observing their body language, hearing the emotion behind their words, you are communicating a powerful message. You matter. This moment matters. This is the foundation of all deep and meaningful human connection. The 99% half listen while composing a reply in their head. The winner listens to understand. When you are in a conversation, make it a practice to put your phone away, out of sight. Make eye contact, get curious, ask questions, be fully there. The person you are with will feel it on a profound level. They will feel seen, heard, and valued. This is the secret to building extraordinary relationships, both personally and professionally. You must also practice presence with yourself and your own experiences. When you are eating a meal, just eat. Don't eat while watching TV or scrolling your phone. Pay attention to the flavors, the textures, the smells. You will not only enjoy your food more, but you will also be more in tune with your body's signals of hunger and fullness. When you are out for a walk, just walk. Leave the headphones and the podcast behind. Pay attention to the feeling of the sun on your skin, the sound of the birds, the details of the world around you. You are training your brain to find richness and novelty in the ordinary. You are cultivating a sense of wonder. This is a skill, and like any skill, it requires training. The mindfulness practice we discussed earlier is the foundational workout. It is in your daily meditation that you build the core strength to be present in your daily life. but you must also practice in the moment. You must create triggers to bring yourself back to the present. A simple technique is to use transitions as a reminder. When you walk through a doorway, use that as a cue to take a deep breath and ask yourself, "Where am I, and what am I doing?" When you sit down at your desk, take a moment to feel your feet on the floor before you dive into your work. You are using these small, simple anchors to pull your wandering mind back to the here and now. This is not about being perfectly present 100% of the time. That is impossible. The mind will always wander. The art of presence is the art of gently, consistently, and compassionately bringing it back, over and over again. It is the practice of noticing when you are lost in thought and choosing to return to your life. The mastery of your life is not found in a future achievement. It is not in the bank account, the job title, or the accolades. It is found in your ability to be fully alive in the only moment you will ever have, this one. While the rest of the world is sleepwalking through their days, you will be awake. You will be present. You will be living a life of depth, richness, and connection that they cannot even imagine. That is the ultimate return on your investment in attention. Chapter 10: The Attentional Cascade, A Life of Mastery. We have reached the culmination of our journey. We began with a simple, powerful premise. The deliberate control of your attention is the one thing you must master to master your life. We have explored this from every angle, from the external architecture of your environment to the internal training of your mind, from the depths of your productive work to the richness of your present moments. Now, it is time to put it all together. It is time to understand how the mastery of this single skill creates a powerful, positive feedback loop, an attentional cascade that elevates every other aspect of your existence. The 99% live in a negative attentional cascade, a downward spiral. Their attention is fractured and distracted. Because their attention is fractured, they cannot engage in deep work, so the quality of their output is mediocre. Because their work is mediocre, they do not receive the best opportunities or the highest compensation. This creates financial stress. Because they are stressed and distracted, they cannot be fully present in their relationships, which then become strained and shallow. This lack of connection creates emotional distress. Their fractured attention leads to poor results, which leads to more stress, which leads to even more fractured attention. It is a vicious cycle that leads to a life of quiet desperation. The winner, the individual who has committed to mastering their attention, creates the opposite, a virtuous cycle, an upward spiral of mastery. It begins with the single act of taking control. You learn to protect your focus. Because you can focus, you can engage in deep work. You can monotask. Because you are engaging in deep work, the quality and quantity of your output skyrockets. You produce work that is excellent, insightful, and valuable. Because your work is valuable, you are rewarded with the best opportunities, promotions, and financial compensation. Your career and your wealth begin to grow. This professional success reduces financial stress and creates more freedom and resources. Because you have trained your attention muscle through mindfulness and deep work, You have the ability to disconnect and be fully present in your personal life. You listen deeply to your loved ones. You savor your experiences. Your relationships deepen and become a source of profound joy and support. This strong personal foundation provides you with the emotional stability and energy to take on even greater professional challenges. Do you see the cascade? Control over your attention leads to better work. Better work leads to a better career. A better career leads to more freedom. More freedom and a trained mind lead to better relationships. Better relationships lead to a more fulfilling life. Each part of the system reinforces the others. This is not a series of separate skills. It is one integrated system for living, with the control of your attention as the central cog in the machine. When you master this one thing, you are not just becoming more productive. You are becoming a better learner, a better leader, a better partner, a better parent, a better friend. You are becoming a more conscious, intentional, and powerful human being. This is the true meaning of mastering your life. It is not about controlling the external world. You can never fully control the events and circumstances that come your way. True mastery is about controlling your internal response to the world. It is about having the unshakable ability to choose where you place your focus, regardless of the chaos that may be swirling around you. This is the source of all power, all peace, and all freedom. The identity you must now claim is that of the guardian of attention. You are the sole protector of your most precious currency. You are the architect of your focus. You are the commander of the spotlight of your mind. You decide what gets illuminated and what remains in the darkness. Your life is a masterpiece, and your attention is the paintbrush. Every moment, you are making a stroke. The 99% are painting a chaotic, smeared, and unintentional canvas, their brush being jerked around by every external force. You are learning to paint with the deliberate, steady hand of a master, creating a life of beauty, purpose, and clarity. The journey does not end here. This is a lifelong practice. There will be days when your focus wavers, when you fall back into old patterns of distraction. Do not despair. This is part of the training. The goal is not perfection, it is progress. The goal is to simply notice when your attention has been hijacked, and with the calm authority of the commander to bring it back over and over again. This is the work. This is the path. Everything you want, the success, the fulfillment, the peace, it all flows from this one singular commitment. Master your attention, and you will, in turn, master your life. The closing. The final words have been spoken, but your journey is just beginning. You are now standing at a crossroads. Behind you is the life of the 99%, a life of digital distraction, fractured focus, and reactive living. A life where your most precious currency is carelessly given away, leaving you feeling overwhelmed and unfulfilled. In front of you is a different path. It is a path of intention, of clarity, of power. It is the path of the master of attention. It is a path that demands discipline but offers a reward of immeasurable worth, a life of your own design. The information you have received is not enough. Information alone does not create transformation. Transformation is born from a single, decisive moment of commitment, followed by a lifetime of consistent action. This is that moment. The choice is simple. Will you continue to be a passive consumer of your life, a victim of the algorithms and the endless stream of noise? Or will you rise up and become the active creator of your experience, the guardian at the gate of your own mind? The entire philosophy can be distilled into one question, a question you must ask yourself in every moment of every day. Where is my attention right now, and is this where I choose for it to be? This question is your compass. It is your anchor. It is the tool that will constantly pull you back from the shores of distraction and onto the firm ground of your own intention. Your life is the canvas. Your attention is the paint. The world will try to throw every color imaginable at your canvas, creating a chaotic mess. You must be the artist who consciously chooses the colors, who deliberately places the strokes, who creates not a random Jackson Pollock of a life, but a Rembrandt of purpose and meaning. This is not about becoming a productivity machine. It is about becoming a fully alive human being. It is about reclaiming your ability to be present for the miracle of your own existence. It is about having the power to give your full, undivided attention to the work that matters and to the people you love. That is a life of mastery. The power to create this life does not reside in this audiobook. It resides in you. It always has. The tools are now in your hands. The path is clear. The enemy is known. The battlefield is your own mind. The time for passivity is over. The time for command is now. Your next moment is arriving. Where will you point the spotlight? The choice is yours. Begin.